Welcome back. A new study out today shows that millions of older Americans, up to 10% of the entire population, are targeted by scammers. Falling for these senior scams could cost them their savings. Jessica Formoso has a closer look at the problem.
Financial scams targeting seniors have become so prevalent. The National Council on Aging says it's considered to be the crime of the 21st century. In New York City, the scams are certainly a big issue.
We have spent quite a bit of time going around in the community doing outreach events, and every time we go to a senior center, we hear from seniors about the different calls, the different ways in which they're being targeted.
Charles Mannings almost became a victim.
It was a sad day. I mean, my nerves went up, my pressure went up, and it's a very sad thing to play on the elderly.
He recalls the phone call that almost cost him $3,000, just about all he had in his savings.
I got this phone call after 5 o'clock, after business hours, and they said they was from the IRS office. They were looking through my records, and they're going through my records, and they found out that I was delinquent in some payments.
Telling him he only had the weekend to solve the issue. They then gave him instructions on how to make the payment.
All you have to do is just mail the money orders. I bought the money order right across the street there at the post office, and I talked to a friend, and they said, well, Charles, the IRS don't make phone calls.
That is correct. The IRS never initiates contact with you via phone.
When they called you from the IRS, which it was not the IRS,
Right.
Did it sound real?
They really sound professional.
And they knew your information?
They had their information, your Charles Manning's date of birth, and you know, you wonder where all this information is coming from.
But the Commissioner of the Department of Consumer Affairs, Lori Lee Sala, says that's not the only scam. There's the fake bank institutions placing calls, texts, and emails saying there is a problem with your account.
Now, if you call that number, you will most likely not find that it's the bank.
The latest scam seniors are falling for, the commissioner says, can cost them more than their life savings.
Cosigner scam. So they initially are thinking that they're going in to help a relative, a grandchild or a child to help guarantee a loan.
It's mostly seen with used car sales and student loans.
Seniors are walking in and then coming out of the shop actually being the primary borrower on that loan.
The commissioner says you should never give out your personal or financial information over the phone, by email, text, or on social media websites. And before signing anything, you need to be aware of what you are signing.
If you were a victim of a scam or almost one, authorities want to hear from you. So make sure you report it to police. You can also contact the Department of Consumer Affairs at 311. On the Lower East Side, I'm Jessica Formoso, Fox 5 News.
And joining me now to talk more about these scams, New Jersey Attorney General Christopher Perino. Thank you so much for being with us.
Happy to be here.
This is just amazing to me that people would prey on seniors like this. Jessica touched on so many of the scams. There are even more, you say, though.
They are very inventive, our scammers, across the country and in the tri-state area. We see all kinds of scams, the most popular of which is the IRS scam by many multiples. In addition to that, we see what we call the grandparent scam,
Oh, yeah.
which involves a number of different permutations, but the one that we're seeing now is a scammer that calls pretending to be a lawyer representing a grandchild, saying that the grandchild is in prison. It's not a big deal, but needs some help, needs some funds to get out of jail, and asks, please, the grandchild asks you not tell the parents. Pleads with the grandparent for a credit card number or some identifying information to get, and then, you know, they're off to the races, and hopefully we get a report. Oftentimes, unfortunately, particularly with the elderly community, we don't hear about it, and so we're out there trying to encourage them to make the report.
There are also some computer scams that are going around right now as well?
There are, and the elderly population is particularly vulnerable here. I mean, you have a population that wasn't born with an iPhone in their hand, and so when they get a call from somebody who says they're from Microsoft or from Apple, that their computer has been compromised or there's a virus, all we need is your credit card information or some identifying information to help you. And that's the phone. Sometimes they perpetrate the scams through the computer screen.
Okay.
Pop-up will arrive, suggest and ask that you click on an additional pass-through. Once you do that, that person is effectively inside of your computer, might be able to access your online banking information, and is sort of in your living room.
Sometimes by the time you realize you've made a mistake, it's too late.
It can be.
Why? I mean, they're going after the elderly because they're vulnerable. But what are the things? I mean, what are the reasons why they're really, targeting them? Why are they going for it?
Yeah. So look, some of our senior citizens are lonely.
Yeah.
And so, when the phone rings and it's a stranger, they're less likely to just hang it up.
Right.
And every second that they're on the phone increases the likelihood that they're going to get scammed. They're less tech savvy, as I said before, and so they're not as wise to some of the tricks. The other thing is they're hopefully in retirement, have saved for retirement, and their assets are liquid, so they're vulnerable to being perpetrated on there as well.
You have something, an anti-fraud toolkit, because I want to talk about how we can help them a little bit. How are we trying to help seniors, and what are things you can do? Yeah,
so look, we're out every week, week in and week out, visiting with seniors in their locations, in assisted living facilities, and in social settings to explain to them what to look for. If someone calls and says you've won a contest, it's probably a scam.
Yeah.
If someone calls and says you've won a contest and you should keep it a secret, it's definitely a scam.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to get the word out that way. We also provide information on our website, an anti-fraud toolkit that children of elderly folks can provide, print out, and give tips about what the red flags might be and what the common scams are.
Thank you so much, AG, for coming in and talking to us about this. We really appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
Hopefully we can help some seniors avoid these scams the next time around.